What if I told you that you could build an AI voice agent in just a few minutes without writing a single line of code? My name is Juan, and for over a year now, I've built more than 30 AI automation solutions for businesses. In the next few minutes, we're gonna do exactly that. I'll walk you through building a fully functional AI voice agent without needing to write code. And to help you get started, I've got a 50% discount code for your first month on the Dapta platform. Just check the first link in the description below, and let's jump right in. Okay, so here I am on Dapta's main dashboard, and we're gonna go ahead and build our very first voice agent in just minutes. So on the left menu, we just hit agents inside the voice agent section, and then just go to the top right corner and hit on new agent. Once we are here, it is gonna ask us about our company, so the full company description and just the name. In this case, I'm gonna use Dapta information. So I just gave it a very vague instruction. In this case, the description is just that we are a SaaS platform where we help business owners create AI voice and chat agents with no code. I'm gonna hit save and continue. In your case in particular, you should be very descriptive while providing this company description if you want the AI to perform better. So once we hit save and continue, we're gonna pick the language that we want our agent to speak. It's gonna be English in this case. Then just give it some identity. I'm gonna name it Alex, and then define the purpose. Here the purpose is just gonna be to provide customer service and support. And then here comes the important instructions. So this field right here is very important because this is where we set the tone and the style of the agent. So here we should just explain to the AI how our agent should behave, the tasks it should perform, and how it should sound as well. So right after that, what Dapta did is just use AI with the context that I gave it, so the company description, name, and the instructions on what the AI voice agent should do, to create the full prompt for my voice agent. So in this case, it gave me the full prompt ready to use for me to test. If I want to test this agent, this is just going to be very easy. I'm able to do it right here in this section. So I just provided the phone number that I want to call, then just some input variables, and just hit test call, and it should be good to go. If you want to modify the instructions that the AI generated for our voice agent, you can do that here as well. If you want to also modify the settings or be very specific on the voice that you want to use, how it's going to sound, the voice temperature, the voice speed, etc., you can also do that as well here. But in this case, we're going to leave it at that and just connect this to our database to call our leads. We do that by going to Flow Studio. So here in Flow Studio, inside the same platform, which is very nice, we just go ahead and create a new flow. Here we have a bunch of templates that we can pick from. So in this case, I want to just call a list of contacts from Google Sheets. So I'm just going to pick this template right here in Dapta. So as this is already basically built, I'm just going to go ahead and modify the notes to actually get the contacts from my Google Sheets and just call the contact right away. So for this demo, I just built a very basic lead list, which contains just the phone that we want to call and then the name of the lead, which is going to be fed also to the voice agent to personalize the conversation. So the phone is basically this one, and the name for this demo is just my name. Now, if you go again and pick a document that you want to use, here we're going to find the documents. Once we're here, just pick the right sheets. I don't want any filters, and that's it. So this should be able to retrieve my contacts and then just go over each contact and start calling the contacts. Let's just make sure that this is well mapped. So as this is a template, this is very well mapped. In this case, what I just need to do is just pick the right agent. My agent is this one. And here we just fed it the input variables. So in this case, we have just one input variable, which is my name. And actually, it is a customer name. Now, essentially, this flow is already done. The only thing that's missing is if we want to log the error in case this node right here provides an error in a different part of our spreadsheet. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete this and also remove this conditional log right here. So yes, what's happening here is just once this is triggered, we're going to get the contacts from our Google Sheets. In this case, we just have one contact, and then what this is going to do is iterate over the list of contacts, in this case just one, wait a few seconds, 10 seconds, and then just call the contact again. Okay, so now we're going to test this automation right here that we took from a template. So we're just going to click on Run Flow. And the nice thing about this is that you see a clear debug of what's happening here. So it successfully retrieved my contact right here. You can see the total number of values that it retrieved, in this case 1, and I should be receiving the call right now. You can see that this triggered a call to my phone. Let's just answer and see how this goes.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. This is Alex from Dapta, Want Your No-Code AI Agent Platform. I'm here to help with any questions or support you might need today. How can I assist you?
Thank you, bye. And that's it. So you can see that the whole process of building a voice agent in Dapta is very fast. So you go from having literally nothing inside the platform to building a voice agent in just literally minutes. Now let's compare this to having to create a voice agent in VAPI and then using an end-to-end workflow to trigger the calls. I am right here on VAPI's main dashboard, and let's go ahead and do the same thing that we did with Dapta, but in this case with VAPI and end-to-end. So let's go to assistants and create a new assistant. I'm going to call it Alex, the same as we did with Dapta, and then just pick a template. So customer support specialist, for instance. Let's create the assistant, and it is going to give me my system prompt that was taken from the template that I chose. But the bad thing here is that it doesn't include the context of my company. So this agent doesn't know what my company does or what it should do. It is just very general prompts. So this is not ideal for beginners in particular, because beginners don't know how to prompt. They just want the agent to do what they want. So I see that this has right here a generate with AI section. Let's try to prompt this agent to build me a prompt for my voice agent that contains the company context that I want. So I just gave it a very basic instruction to include the context of my company and gave it the context that I gave Dapta, or a very similar context. So in this case, my company is called Dapta. We're a SaaS platform solution that allows business owners to build AI voice agents with no code. Let's just submit this, and it is gonna go ahead and modify my prompt to include the information that I mentioned. I'm not gonna modify this to be markdown or whatever. I'm just gonna leave it at what VAPI provided me. So now what I want to do is just use an end-to-end workflow to call this agent, and let's see how this goes. Now in end-to-end, what you need to do to emulate what we just did in Dapta is just a flow that looks like this. This is a very basic version, but the main logic is just the same. So we're gonna retrieve the rows from our Google Sheets, which contains the list of leads that we want to contact, and then we're just gonna trigger the call for each one of them. In end-to-end, we don't need an iteration node right here in between, because end-to-end is going to treat every separate row right here as a different item. So let's build this from scratch, right? To do this, we just go ahead and add a new Google Sheets node right here, and I want to get rows in Sheets. I already have my Google Sheets credentials connected, so I'm just going to pick the document that I want to take my information from. So it's going to be demo and then the sheets. The sheet is just the only one that this contains. So I already have my information here. Let's just run this once, and you will see that it is retrieving the information from the only item that I have in that Google Sheet. Now what we need to do is the hard part, which is make an HTTP request to VAPI's API in order to create a call to the assistant that we just created. So to do that, you have to go to VAPI API docs and find for the right endpoint to call. I know this is a bit technical, but this is just the way we have to do it, because end-to-end doesn't have a native VAPI node easy to use for non-technical users. First, I'm just gonna add a new HTTP request, because this one is already filled out correctly, but I want to do it from scratch for you to see. So I'm gonna import a new HTTP request, and this is just gonna be blank for us to fill out. In this case, end-to-end has a very nice feature which allows us to import the curl request directly from the API documentation of the platform that we want to connect to. So let's go to VAPI docs, and right here we can find the curl request that we can copy and paste here. So here, import and paste. This is just gonna configure this node accordingly to what the curl request provides. So you can see that this changed the method to post. It included the right URL and also the headers that we should use. In this case, authorization header includes a token, which is a personal token from your VAPI account, and you're gonna have to retrieve it directly from VAPI. Then we just have to include the JSON parameters to include to the request. I'm just gonna go for the raw JSON format. And to know specifically which parameters we should send to this endpoint in the JSON format, we have to check the documentation and actually know how to do it. This is definitely not ideal for non-technical users, but in this case, VAPI documentation includes this feature right here, which allows us to try this endpoint. And what this allows us to do is to intuitively include the right parameters, and it is going to populate the JSON parameters right here on the right side. So for this assistant, what we need to pass it, I would say, is the assistant ID. So for VAPI to be able to identify which assistant we're going to use to call, we're going to have to pass it the assistant ID. So we pick assistant ID, and you can see that this added the assistant ID field right here. And where do we get this assistant ID from? We have to go to VAPI, and then right inside the assistant that we just created, here we can retrieve the ID from the assistant. So I just copied it and go here. Well, not here, but we're gonna have to copy it and use it in an instance node. So what else do we need in order to create our call? I would say that we're gonna have to call from a phone number. So I'm gonna include the phone number ID that we want to call from. Also, well, you can include multiple things here, but I would say that the required ones are these ones in particular. And finally, I'm just gonna add a customer here, and inside the customer object, let's just add the number that we need to call. So this is the one that comes from our Google Sheets. I can also include the name from our Google Sheets. I'm just not sure that I'm using that dynamic variable during the prompt, because the prompt was given by VAPI and we didn't include any dynamic variables inside the prompt, I think. So yeah, we're just gonna feed it the name. I don't think it is gonna use it during the conversation. So we have now the JSON object that we should include in our HTTP request node. So I'm gonna copy and paste this. This should be a valid JSON. The only thing left is just passing right here the parameters, the right parameters that we should use. So the assistant ID, as I mentioned, we go to VAPI, copy and paste. The phone number ID, we should also go to VAPI, and here in our phone numbers, we can use, we can either buy a phone number out of Twilio or Vonage or Telnix, or VAPI also allows us to buy some phone numbers. We have free US phone numbers, but if you are outside from the US, this is going to be a problem. In this case, let's use this one, which is the +1 415, and here it is the ID. So go here, copy the ID, and then inside the customer object, we should provide it the number and the name. So number and name comes from our Google Sheets, and we don't have it right here because we haven't wired this up. So this is the request. If I connect the previous node, which we already executed, to this one, we're gonna have the inputs here to include to our JSON object. So phone, it is gonna be this one right here. We can drag and drop it to the correct field. So number is phone, and here name is the name that comes from the Google Sheet. So this should be good to go. Well, we're missing the token, so we're gonna have to go to VAPI again, go to API keys, copy the API key from VAPI and paste it here, and we should be good to go. So once we have this, let's just run this and see if I can receive this call to the phone number that I have here. So you can see it is now iterating over the rows, and I should be receiving a call shortly. Right, so I have the call right here. Let's answer.
This is Alex from Tech Solutions Customer Support. Can I help you today?
Hello, how are you?
Hey there. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
And that's it. So we just built the same voice agent in two different platforms. One that is more beginner friendly, and the other one that, even though it allows us kind of a more deeper customization of our voice agent, you should have some technical background in order to make it work.